Good evening. I'd like to call to order the December 19th, 2024, 5 o'clock regular meeting of the Harris County Board of Education to order. Our mission is ensuring an excellent education for every child in Harris County. Our vision is one community committed to the well-being and preparation of every student for lifelong success in a global society. At this time, do I have a motion for the approved agenda as presented? Mr. Lip, second by Mr. Proctor. All in favor? So moved. All righty. At this time, I will make a motion that we go into executive session. And do you all have no, I need the little book with the information in it. Because like I said at the GSBA meeting, we want to make sure that we cover all aspects of that. But, let's see here. Personnel. Well, I'm going to read the whole thing. To discuss or deliberate upon appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or an employee, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent, or to discuss or vote to authorize negotiations to purchase, dispose of, or lease property, authorize ordering an appraisal related to the acquisition or disposal of real estate, entering into contract to purchase, dispose of, or lease property subject to approval in a subsequent public vote, to review and appeal from a student disciplinary tribunal, to consider a matter involving the disclosure of personally identifiable information from a student's educational records, to discuss records that are otherwise protected from disclosure under the Open Records Act, and therefore is no reasonable means to consider the records without closing the meeting, to consult and meet with legal counsel pertaining to pending or potential litigation, settlement, claims, administrative procedures, or other judicial actions brought to be brought or against the school district or an officer or employee in which the officer or employee may be directly involved, and to discuss cybersecurity plans or contracts for services, records related or exempt from open records. And do I have a motion by Mrs. Oliver, and second by Dr. Sparks? All righty. And so now I'll have a motion that we would convene into executive session. Yep. And all in favor? So moved. Okay. All right. We are
forth in 3, 2, 1.
Alrighty, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we come out of executive session. Mr. Lip, second by Mr. Proctor, all in favor? So moved. And at this time, I also make motion that we reconvene our regular meeting. First and second, Mr. Green, Mrs. Oliver, all in favor? So moved. Alrighty, at this time, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr.
So we are pleased to have Park Elementary here this evening, and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I want to thank Natalia Luna and Bianca Van Valkenburg. So ladies.
Stand, salute, pledge. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, ladies. And at this time, we'd have to have our opening by Park. Mrs. Douthit and Dr. Douthit.
Well, good evening, board members, Dr. Finney. We want to thank you so much for having us. I'm here with Miss McClung, fourth grade teacher at Park. We are so excited to present some very sweet and ready for winter break kids and their families that have joined us. And they are going to present a couple of little updates about what's going on at Park. But first, we are going to hear from our Tiger TV on our video.
Good evening, I'm Callie. And I'm Tiana. And this is Tiger TV.
Welcome to a special evening edition of Tiger TV.
It's only December at Park has been blooming with activities because it is the place to be.
Here's just a few things we have participated in this year.
Let's go live with our student council to hear about our community involvement projects.
I am John Wes Crowder, Student Council President. We are here to talk to you about our community outreach.
Hi, I'm Bianca Van Valkenburg, and I'm Student Council Secretary. Last year, House Altruismo chose to start an annual giving competition for community outreach.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Maudlin, Student Council Vice President. We raise donations for the Humane Society, DFACS, Feed the Valley, and Toys for Tots.
Hi, I'm Natalia Luna, and I'm class representative. Each house participated and sent boxes and boxes of supplies to each location before Christmas.
Hi, I'm KK, Student Council Historian. This year, with the hurricanes hitting Florida and North Carolina, we decided to move the competition and expand outreach. We collected toiletries, pet food, canned food, and clothing, which was all sent directly to hurricane relief in Florida and North Carolina. Hi, I'm Chloe Court, and we won our competition this year. They were awarded 15 points each. I'll have to get them next time. We plan on continuing our community outreach with more projects throughout the year. Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you all for coming. We really appreciated that, and y'all have a Merry Christmas and a safe New Year. Okay. All righty, at this time, that will bring us to section G of our agenda, public participation. Dr. Finney, we have anyone?
We have no one signed up for the public participation portion of the meeting.
All righty, sounds good. That will now take us to section H of the agenda, that the Harris County Board of Education review the attached meeting minutes from the board meetings held in November of 2024. So if y'all will look at those and have time on it, I guess we'll discuss them next year. Yeah. And that will move us back to our discussion agenda. And at this time, we'll have a curriculum update at the Harris County Board of Education. Listen to a curriculum update for Dr. Denny and Dr. Patterson.
All right, I'm going to go first. That's why I got up here first. So tonight we're looking at CCRPI results, which have been released to the state. What I'm going to talk about is what the categories are, and then Donna's going to share the scores. And if you have any questions, we'll both take those questions. So if you take a look on that first page, that just shows each of our schools and their scores on individual components. So the first category is called content mastery, and that is pretty much, I think, what we've told you guys. That's the Georgia milestones component. So we know how we did last year. We did what I would say is considerably well. Content mastery is just a measure of if you're in third grade, fourth grade, sixth grade, and seventh grade, a measure of science and ELA mastery. And if you're in fifth grade, it also includes science, and eighth grade, science, social studies, ELA, and math, and the four categories at the high school. Your progress is a measure of growth from one year to the next. It doesn't get calculated in third grade because that's your first year of testing, but growth gets calculated in fourth grade on, and only for ELA and math. Even though we did have a new math test this year, they're still able to calculate growth because it's not growth on the test, it's growth as measured compared to your academic peers. The students took a new test this year. All students took the new test this year. All students took the old test last year, so they can compare the results of those the results of the students using the test. And then closing gaps. This is one that's changed a little bit differently this year because of the new math test. Closing gaps is how much each group, subgroup moves, such as you've got the all subgroup, the students with disabilities subgroup, economically disadvantaged, multiracial students, how all the different subgroups increase in their performance over the year. Because it was a new math test, they couldn't compare those groups from last year's test because it is different. So you can't really compare the growth on the test itself. So that is only showing you growth for ELA. So just be aware that you can't really tell that by the number, but understand it's only one category, which is for ELA. And this last category is actually multiple things called readiness. That is a measure of students' Lexiles being on or above grade level. They did change that this year, that bar indicator dropped down a little bit, and we actually moved up above it more than we anticipated, so that was a good indicator. It's the percentage of students taking and passing a beyond the core test or assessment, course, such as any fine arts in the elementary schools, computer science at Creekside, I believe, health, PE. There's a couple different courses at the high school, but ultimately all of our schools get somewhere between 99 and 100% in that. And then the last thing we have there is attendance that goes into that calculation. And we know attendance has been an issue since COVID, but with that indicator, we actually improved again this year, as you guys know from Ms. Baker talking about how our attendance protocol has been working and increasing our daily attendance every month in all the schools. So the readiness you'll see is actually quite high this year, again, better than last year, but it is a culmination of multiple indicators there for that category. The one category I didn't include on there just because it's only for the high schools, also the 4-year or the graduation rate, which includes both the 4-year and 5-year graduation rate. But Dr. Patterson can talk to you about that when you actually flip to the next 3 pages and look at the comparisons for our school district compared to the other school districts.
I did give you this infographic at your chairs so that you can refer to it later if you're reflecting on what we go over and some other questions come up. I think this is a very user-friendly infographic that could apply to any of the school districts in the state. But we are specifically curious about Harris County. I do want to elaborate just a little bit more on the readiness piece. What it basically means is, are the kids ready to perform at the next level? So if they're elementary, are they ready to go on to middle school? If they're in high school, are they ready to go on into the college or career scene or the armed services? So at the middle school, they do one thing that they have that the elementary school does not have, where they base readiness is a passing score in health and PE. But at the high school, it does get a little bit complicated because readiness is a term for a rubric, and that rubric has several different measures to it. So at the high school, it is going to measure whether they're at or above grade level with their Lexile. It's going to measure student attendance. It's going to measure our percentage of students participating in accelerated enrollment, and that means dual enrollment or AP exams, whether or not they passed 2 or more AP exams and got college credit. And we do get, for the past couple of years, we've gotten 100% in the accelerated enrollment. It does is another part of that rubric is pathway completion with CTAE pathways, fine arts pathways, world language pathways. The college and career readiness part by itself is based on one of the new things, ASVAB scores. When kids take the ASVAB to go into the military, and do they have a 31 or higher as their composite score? The ACT, SAT, and work-based learning programs. So there's a lot involved. Readiness is one small word for a whole lot of moving pieces at the high school level. The graduation rate we have already talked about before, and I've explained to you how that's figured. But what I would ask you at this point is, do you have any questions? I know that you saw this ahead of time. What I did is I highlighted Harris County High School. I did a comparison for the high school of specific schools, because in the past, you have asked, you've been curious about how we compare to other schools in our RESA district and in our geographic district. But when it comes to middle schools and elementary schools, I just pulled a comparison by district because there are so many schools. We would have papers of lists and lists and lists. I thought this might be easier for you to see, just a comparison by the district in those lower areas, those lower grades. What questions do you have? What's on your mind about CCRPI that you'd like to ask me or Dr. Denny?
I think you've done a good job at explaining it to us, especially with all the data and the
Yeah.
compiling of the graphs and charts. We appreciate it tremendously.
Okay, well, just reach out to one of us there or to Dr. Finney if you have a question, and we'll get the answer to you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Patterson. All right, and at that time, that will move us to J1 of our agenda. J1 is the Harris County Board of Education review for approval of the attached table, proposed revisions to board policy JBCB, non-resident students. And we discussed this before, and it's set on the required time as required by law. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve this policy. Motion by Mr. Green, second by Dr. Sparks. Any other questions or concerns anyone might have? All right, all in favor? So moved. All right, and that will bring us back to J2. J2 is another policy that is set on the board. Let me get to it.
J2 is the House Bill 581.
Yeah, that's the Harris County Board of Education review of the text, proposed House Bill 581 and the superintendent's recommendation from Dr. Finney.
So as you know, we've been looking at House Bill 581 and the implications for the district and the taxpayers. We've looked at the bill in depth and all of the provisions contained within that bill. And that bill passed in November, on the November 5th, 2024 referendum. The homestead property tax, it was the homestead property tax on the ballot. It was approved by the voters of Georgia and Harris County, and that was both at a rate of over 60%. Contained within that amendment is an opt-out provision that we've looked at from all sides, and I've had the 4 public information sessions. I've studied both sides of it. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from the county and the citizens. And so after careful study of all of that and hearing feedback from the citizens, it's my recommendation that the Harris County Board of Education not opt out of the amendment as approved by the voters in Harris County.
Mhm. So do I have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation? Mr. Proctor, second. Mrs. Oliver, any other concerns or questions?
I just want to make sure, I mean, I know we have dug into this a whole lot, but I also want to make sure that anybody that's listening out there understands that we were wanting to do what our voters of Harris County wanted to do, but at the same time, it may come with budget consequences to us. And that, you know, there may be a time and situation where we may even have to raise the millage rate just to meet budget concerns and that kind of stuff for the school district. So I hope our constituents understand that. Like I said, we have given a lot of thoughtful consideration for this and taken the recommendation of the superintendent to do what our constituents want based off his public meetings that he's had, the feedback he received. And again, just want to make sure everybody understands that, you know, there may become a time where we may have to raise our millage rate just so we can meet our obligation financially as a school district.
Any other comments? All righty. So at this time, do I have, I can't remember, did I do it first and second over? Okay, so all in favor? So moved. All right. That take us to the section K of our consent agenda. I would like to recommend that we take K1, 2, 3, and 4 together if there's not any other questions at this time. All right, Mr. Green makes motion second. Mrs. Oliver, any other questions and concerns? All right. All in favor? So moved. All right, this will now bring us to section L, news and information. And Mr. Proctor, I'll start with you.
Well, I did enjoyed our school visit to Mulberry Creek today. And I just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
First thing I want to say is, congratulations to, I think we've had 2 Golden Apple Award winners here recently. One for a coach, I may butcher this, Santicia, did I pronounce that correct? Ellis and Jennifer Robinson. I'd like to say congratulations to both of them for winning the Golden Apple Award. Also want to say had a great time at the GSBA conference. Always enjoy everybody's company, getting our training in and all that good stuff, but always enjoy going to that conference. And speaking of the conference, I just want to say thank you, Addison Baker, for representing Harris County High School so well, on the Youth Advisory Committee during that conference. I mean, she did an awesome job, and I know she's got a proud mama sitting in the back of this room as well. But she did an awesome job, so tell her so, Miss Baker. And then also did enjoy our visit to Mulberry today as well. Always good to see the kids, especially this time of year when, you know, it's getting close to Christmas and they're excited and school's getting out and just lots of stuff going on. Always makes it a fun time for that visit, especially because it's always right here at Christmas time. And then I would be remiss, Mr. Lip, enjoyed serving with you, sir. I know we have started this venture together and you're cutting that on, but but it's been an honor to serve with you and sit next to you for all these years, and I appreciate your leadership and you took on the role as chair. And again, it's been an honor to sit next to you, sir.
I appreciate that. Scott, listen, I enjoyed the visit to Mulberry Creek today as well. I tell everybody, that's the best part of this job. If all I had to do was school visits, I would, be on the ballot every time. But it's not. So, that, and then I just want to say congratulations to those students. They did a fantastic job. I would like to take just a minute, Steve, and share my heart and my thoughts. It's been an absolute honor to serve the county that I love so much for the past 8 years. I appreciate the confidence of the voters of District 1 who've afforded me this opportunity. I too am grateful for the support of my family during this time. As y'all well know, it takes them all. The professionalism and effectiveness of this district's faculty and staff are absolutely unmatched in this entire state. I appreciate my fellow board members for keeping the students' best interest as your priority and continuing to strive for excellence. As I state in every prayer I offer prior to our meetings, may I, and now y'all, always be mindful of the people who are affected by the decisions that we make. I've committed every decision I've made to prayer for divine guidance, which included my decision to not run for a 3rd term. My congratulations to Mr. Johnston for being unopposed in his campaign. Good for you. I appreciate, sir, your willingness to serve. So with that, after her having served with 8 different board members, 3 different superintendents, 2 different attorneys, under 2 presidents, and a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, I make my final comment, which is simply thank you all. It was my pleasure to serve.
Thank you, Mr. Well, Ms. Oliver, we'll defer to you.
Well, I'm a crying witness. Thank you. Today at Mulberry Creek was awesome. I had a great day today. It was a blessing. Every class, each class I went into, I asked a student what their favorite thing about either their personal class or their school. What was their favorite thing about their school? And 95% of them said their teacher. The teacher, 2 first graders said recess.
That was the second best.
to know that those kids love and feel safe in those classrooms each day, and they love coming to school. So thank you to Mulberry Creek for being so gracious to us today to let us come on the day before Christmas break.
Yeah.
There was a special energy in the whole school, and it was just such a blessing. So thank you all. And I just wanted to say that we have some football players playing in the SEA All-Star game Saturday at Spencer High School at noon. And so if anyone is, doesn't have anything going on Saturday, that's just the busiest time of the year. I don't know. But Saturday at noon, there's an SEA All-Star football game, and a lot of our players are there. So it's really great. But Shane, you're welcome. We're gonna miss you. Thank you.
Okay, so for those that I did not get to see at the Mulberry Visit today, I was there in spirit. I missed a lot. I want to thank you, Candy, also known as the cookie lady, and her helpful assistant, Ms. Lip, for the opportunity to find that great cookie. And also enjoy the GSBA conference. Thank you. It's a pleasure to serve with each of you guys. I know sometimes I take it for granted that we don't have some of the issues that other schools may have. So much stories. And I also enjoyed seeing one of our own, Ms. Addison Baker, present us as a youth advisory council meeting. And I got a little video today. I don't know if we can share that with her peers, just so they can see how wonderful she is, and also maybe encourage them to do the same. Yes. And finally, Mr. Litworth just came to us. So.
Mr. Ellington?
Yeah, so, Mr. Lip, I am honored to have been one of the two lawyers that you got to work with. And I remember when the first lawyer introduced us and we had lunch. And it's been a real pleasure to work with you and the full board, but I'm really honored to be part of the team. But we will miss you. And, but we get to keep Renee. And
That's right.
That's it. We'll keep up with the family and how you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Dr. Finney?
Yes, I had a great time at Mulberry Creek today. It's always nice to go home to Mulberry Creek. And not only do you see a great energy there at Mulberry Creek, but you see that all across the district. And it's just amazing from my vantage point to see all that goes on and all that happens across the district every single day. And it's really a miracle. It's amazing. But that's due to all of the great people that we have the privilege of serving and working with. So I want to wish all of them a Merry Christmas and urge them all to get some rest. And we are very excited about what the future holds for the rest of the year. They tell us in superintendent school that if you make it until Christmas, you're doing pretty well. So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity. And also to Mr. Lip, thank you for over the years, your confidence, your counsel at times, and your example of faith most of all. And so it's been an honor to serve with you. And I hope you're not going to be a stranger. And if we can ever help with, I know you're not going to be a stranger, I should say. And if we can ever assist with anything, but we do wish you well and Godspeed.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'd like to thank Mulberry Creek for having us today. It's like everyone says, it was extra exciting because of the holiday season and the way the kids were hyped up being the last day. And it's like I mentioned there, it was amazing how they could still incorporate all the fun and the Christmas thing in with the curriculum and get things done with it. But I know everyone's ready for rest and all. Mrs. Baker, as long as I can remember, I don't recall anyone from Harris County being on the advisory committee. I think if history serves me right, and I may be wrong, but I think your daughter was probably the first person from Harris County to do that. And tell her we thank her for her recommendations and hope that input will be, listened to with that. Um, Shane, it's hard for me to tell you. With the times we had gone through. And you coming on board. And then of the services you had provided when I asked you to. And you were gracious enough to do that. And I've always respected you for that. And we give you a hard time about your questions and stuff and everything with it. Everybody gives me a hard time because I was tasked with monitoring the number of them. And, we did it in jest. But they were always insightful and informative and intuitive and helped all of us to make the decisions and stuff and helped us along. And from your point of view, seeing your insight and like every other board member here with the insight we have, and always knowing that it's for the children of Harris County, which is always our goal to do that. Sometimes that's hard to achieve and to keep that in sight. But it's like you said, I think this board, and as I've said before, as long as I've served, this has been probably one of the best boards that I've served with, because everyone's always open-minded and listening to things, and we research it and keep that as the children at the forefront of our decisions. And like I say, I've gone through. You've had two superintendents. I think I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 superintendents. So those decisions don't come lightly. But we thank you for your time, Renee. We thank you for letting them serve with us during this period. And all, but I wish you the best of luck and hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now, on the backside of that, as we come into the new year, I think Dr. Finney will probably set up for us. There are several of us who have to be re-sworn in at the beginning of the new year. I think Ms. Stephen will be part of that group. So we'll have to set that up and all. And then another task as it comes around the first of the year, y'all realize we'll have to make that decision on a board chair and vice chair. So being the time of the holiday season, another decision you might try to keep that in mind and where we want to go with that. But thank you again for your service. All right. Now you got to make me remember where I'm at. All right. And would since we're going back, and would I just make a recommendation we go back into executive session? Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion that we go back into executive session.
First, for a confidential student matter.
Yeah, for a confidential student matter. Mr. Lip, second by Mr. Proctor. All in favor? So moved. All right, our regular meeting. We will go into executive session at this time. Thank you all. You have a Merry Christmas and a good New Year. All righty, at this time, I will make a motion, we come out of the executive session. Mr. Green, second by Dr. Sparks. Any questions? All in favor? So moved. And at this time, I would make motion that we approve the employment recommendations of the superintendent. Dr. Sparks, second by Mr. Proctor. All in favor? So moved. And at this time, I will entertain a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Mr. Lip and Mrs. Oliver, and we are adjourned.
Was there any doubt?